Joining us now, Bob Paduchik. He's the co-chair of the Republican National Committee. Bob, good to have you with us.
John, thanks for having me on. You did hit the name perfectly, and I couldn't agree more with you about the swamp. That's why I still live in Ohio with my family, and I only get down here a few days a week because I absolutely have to.
It's definitely, somebody said to me the other day, it's definitely swampy up here. Somebody came to
no doubt about it.
And they're like, it's
no
swampy.
doubt about it. And draining it and changing it's a long-term affair. But I think, you look back at the first year here, and the president has accomplished a great deal. I mean, when he ran for office in 2016, he made promises about regulations and tax cuts and national security and defeating ISIS and the judiciary. And I think you look back on 2017 and you say promises made, promises kept is the best way to describe the president's first year in office.
I would agree with that. I think it's been a fabulous first year. And let's not forget one thing, Bob. The president has a sense of humor, right? I mean, those of us that have been around him like me for a long time, I mean, he's a funny guy. He loves to laugh. He has a sense of humor. What is wrong with this town is these Democrats who just want to live in the pit of misery. They have no sense of humor. These people ever laugh at anything? Like his comment the other day when he said, if you're not standing up for my speech, that's like treasonous. I mean, come on, Bob, that's a joke. I heard it. I thought it was funny. Now they're making speeches on the floor. The Senate can't pass a budget in 2 decades, but they have time to go in front of C-SPAN and make speeches about Trump's joke. Where's the sense of humor?
Well, everything about the Democrats is political advantage. I mean, so anything that gets said that they think that they can turn into some kind of an opportunity to appeal to one of their special interest groups, the identity politics that they practice, they're going to take advantage of it. But you also see it in their policies. I mean, they hate this president more than they love America. Otherwise, they would have supported the tax cuts last year, and not a single Democrat in the House or Senate voted for it, and it's astonishing. But look at immigration. They shut the government down on immigration. The president comes back and makes them a better offer than what they asked for, and they don't want to take it. And the reason they don't want to take it is they don't want to solve these problems. They want political issues so that they can gain more power and they can increase the size of the swamp, try to bleed that swamp out into Northern Virginia and into Maryland, because that's what liberal politicians do. Is they try to expand government and they try to take more of our money and use it for their social engineering.
Yeah, Bob, they want everybody back in the pit of misery, dilly-dilly. I mean, that's really what they want. I mean, it's just, I say their new 2018 slogan, #Mama, make America miserable again. And if you're miserable, you vote for the Democrats. So forget MAGA, they want Mama. So it's this is what the Democrats do. I mean, look, Bob, I'm sure your family has some vesting in a 401k retirement that is tied to stocks. Right. So look, Monday, 50% of America has some proportion of their retirement in the stock market today in their 401k plan. 50%, one of every 2 people. So the stock market is going down on Monday. And the Democrats and the legacy media, they got party hats on, they got streamers out, champagne is on ice. I mean, you would have thought that they had the biggest party they've ever had, cheering every 100 points the stock market goes down, cheering average middle-class Americans losing value in their retirement, doing the happy dance. I mean, have you ever seen such a thing in your life?
Well, yeah, because this is how the Democrats operate, because they would rather have a political advantage than success for our country. I mean, they are so beholden to the idea of not giving the president a win on anything. They're willing to not only just sacrifice the well-being of the American people, they're willing to sacrifice issues that are important to their constituents, like DACA and immigration reform. And again, that's kind of the base political instinct that the Democrats operate on. I find it, disgusting, but, it's not any big surprise to me that's, spent, 32 years fighting against liberal Democrats.
Well, Bob, and then the Democrats yelling about the kids, right? For a year, Bob, here's all we heard. on CNN, which is my network that I go on. By the way, I'll be on today. Anyway, so on CNN, right, and all the other networks, the Democrats running around every day saying, oh, the kids, it's the kids, talk of these kids. There's these kids, and that nobody brought them in. It was not their fault, and they don't know anything else, and they have jobs, and they went to college here. And this is all they know. You can't send them back. It's all about the kids. Don't you have a heart? We got to take care of these kids. John, it's the kids. Don't you get it? So then the president says, you know what, Bob, come to think of it, it is about the kids. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take those 800,000 kids you're talking about that don't know any other home, and I'm going to give them amnesty, even though I said I wouldn't do it in the campaign. I'm going to give them amnesty, and I'm going to give them a pathway to citizenship. But not only that, you know what, John and Bob? I know that there's about another 1 million kids out there that didn't apply for DACA. They didn't go through the paperwork. Maybe they didn't know how to do it. Maybe they didn't want to register. Somebody might find them out. I don't know, but kids are kids, register or not. Right. I'm going to take care of those kids too. So I'm going to do 2 million kids. I'm going to make them U.S. citizens over a 10-year period. Everything is good. They're good to go. All you have to do is help me secure the border because, you know, we do have laws. And, Bob, what was the Democrats' reaction to that?
They refused. And they refused to take the president's offer. That's what's astonishing about this. This is something that they cried and wailed and bemoaned for months, and the president offers them a deal that's better than what they asked for, and they still turn it down. And again, it goes back to what I said before, is they refuse to allow this president succeed, and they're willing to do it not only at the expense of the country, but at the expense of their constituency, and it's astonishing.
Unbelievable. Bob Paduchik, we're out of time. I know you got some other things you've got to attend to. Hey, thanks for being with us, Bob.
Thanks, John.
Let me ask you about Ohio, right? The president just went there, Cincinnati. Can we win Ohio again?
Absolutely.
I like
no doubt in my mind at all. The president's very strong in Ohio.
I like your confidence. Bob Paduchik, he is the co-chair of the Republican National Committee. They're raising record numbers of money. And the new finance chairman, Mr. Ricketts, owns the Chicago Cubs. Of course, we hate the Cubs. So we hope that Ricketts spends all of his time raising money for the RNC and zero time with the Cubs because I don't like the Cubs. In fact, I don't like any team except mine, the Astros. I hate Bob. I hate all teams, including your Cincinnati Reds. Sorry, I hate them all.
How do you become an Astros fan?
Yeah, well, it's a long story. First game I saw, my father took me to Astros Mets 1964. They were the Colt 45s, and right. I was 7 years old and wide-eyed, and I was all excited. My first game ever in Shea Stadium, and my father had tickets behind the Colt 45s dugout, so we went early. It was like 2,000 people in the stands. The Mets and the Colt 45s were like a combined, 9,000 games out in August. And Jimmy Wynn, who had just come up as a rookie, 64 in August, took batting practice. All right, I'll never forget this. This is how it happened, how life is. Took batting practice, 19 years old or something, 20 years old. And he went to the dugout and he tapped his bat on top of it to see if it was cracked. You know how you would do that in the old days, right? You just tap it. And he taps it, and he decides, it's got a small crack in it. And I'm just standing there, and I got a Colt 45's hat on that my father had got me because they were selling them. And so he hands me the bat. And then my father says, would you sign it for him? And Jimmy Wynn, it was a different era back then. I mean, they were just young kids. He's like, sure. So Jimmy Wynn ends up being the toy cannon, all those homers, right? He was a rookie, signs my bat. And then a pitcher comes over after playing Pepper and says, well, if you give him a bat, you got to give him a ball. So he goes into the dugout, he hands me a ball, and Larry Durker, 18 years old, signs a ball. So I'm 7 years old, or 6, 7. I got a bat from Jimmy Wynn. I got a ball from Larry Durker. I was a Colts Astros fan for life from that moment on.
That makes sense. I'll tell you what, you got to be happy because I think that was one of the best World Series that I've seen in a long time last year. And I'll be honest with you, I'm a Dodger fan, so for me it was rough, but it was a hell of a series. It was,
and for those Astro fans like me, waiting 56 years for that and I mean, even in the last inning of the last game where we had the 2-run lead, I couldn't watch it because conjuring up in my mind was all of the games we blew in the ninth inning against Philadelphia in the playoffs and the Mets and just horror story. So I had to go outside. I could not watch the final 3 outs. My son had to text me pitch by pitch as I was outside. That's how sick it is.
But that was a great series. It really was. I mean, in juxtapose that with what was going on with the NFL and everything, and just a hell of a thing for Major League Baseball.
Really unbelievable. And as it turned out, those two rookies, Jimmy Wynn, Toy Cannon, and Larry Dierker, both of them ended up being, longtime All-Stars. And, both of them gave me something when they were 18 years old, right? As rookies. Right. Who would have ever known? That's how life is, right? You never know. You never know what happens. Bob, thanks for being with us, man.